Hi there, you're tuning into Media Soundwave. My name is Heather Cassidy and today we're joined by author Liam Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Nice to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
I've recently been reading part of your book. I'm a good way through, but I've not had a chance to finish it yet. I've been juggling too many things, called Medium Rare, which I really recommend. It's a very good read and nice to know a lot about your history. But you're here today to talk to us about your own journey, and this is a bit more of a personal story than we've been doing recently, about your own journey with cannabis oil. Now, it's recently been in the press over the last few months about our drugs reform minister here in the UK has been opposing the law reform with regards to cannabis. Yet her husband has been growing it and has a licence to grow it here in the UK. But thankfully, he's been using it and making money to sell to a pharmaceutical company who are making a drug for epilepsy in children, which is a wonderful thing that they are doing.
Yeah.
But it just makes us think, why is she so opposed to what is actually bringing revenue into her household? So I wanted to look at some of the different things that it can help with. So I was reading an article over this weekend about a poor little baby who had a really bad skin condition, and cannabis oil has helped this skin condition. So it's not only helping adults with the different things that we hear about, like chronic pain and things. So can you tell me about your story and how you've ended up using cannabis oil?
To go back to the start of it all, my wife, she died of breast cancer. Very fine, beautiful woman, who was just a beautiful lady, and she died of it. And I was helping for the last year, and I was taken to the hospital for cancer, for all the treatments, and I could see her deteriorating all the time. So I was sort of anti chemotherapy, and still am.
I think a lot of people are, though, aren't they?
It's a poison.
It is a poison.
It's a poison in the body, because she could have fought this. If I'd have known what I know now, she'd still be alive today. But anyway, that's another story. So anyway, I eventually was found to have prostate cancer. I was horrified because I don't want anything in my body that I don't want to be there. It's natural. So I tried various diets. I tried them all the ones on YouTube and all the ones on the net. Everything. Nothing's meant to work for me. And 2 years ago, I happened to be in my friend's auction house, and a woman came in, and she said she had cancer, and she cured the cancer with a stuff called black seed oil. So I didn't take too much notice because you hear so many stories, and I thought about it later on in the year, and I thought I'd give it a try. So I tried this black seed oil. It's curcumin. It's the curcumin oil. Right, and it's cold pressed, and it's cold pressed in Germany. And I bought some, and I was having that for about a year now. And I have a teaspoon before I get up of a morning, but before I do anything of a morning, half an hour before, and then during the day I have a teaspoon. But now I've got it down to 1 teaspoon of a morning before I do anything else. It helps. It helps the bones and all that sort of thing. It's good for the eyes. It's good for the skin. And if you're cracking on in life like I am, it's good for the eyes and all the wrinkles. Gets rid of all that. As does coconut oil. Anyway.
I can say that's a different show all on its own.
Oh, yeah.
Tips from Liam for your skin.
It is. It's really good. Anyway, then we go on. Again, I was in the auction room again, and a pal of mine came into this auction room. I've known him for many, many years. He's an ex-dealer like myself, not in drugs, but an ex-dealer in the West End, and he had 4-stage cancer.
Stage 4 cancer.
Stage 4 cancer in the lungs. Right, he was more or less gone. Anyway, his wife found out about cancer, about the cannabis oil, and her son, who was into drugs, made some for him. Right, and that was 2 years ago. 3 years ago. He's now still alive and kicking and looking well, and he goes back for the tests, right, every 3 months to see if it's come back again. All it is, it's there, but it's dead. It's killed.
It's not affecting his life.
Not affecting his life at all. In fact, he eats well, but he watches his diet. He's a bit like me. He's cracking on, and he puts on a bit of weight, but apart from that, he's well and he's happy. And he's always looking out for little deals and dodging around, So he's enjoying himself, so he's quite happy. The cancer, the back of his mind, but his wife makes him have it every day now for the rest of his life. That's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
So she was telling me about it, and I said, "But can you get some for me?" So she got some for me, and I've been taking that for over a year, and it comes in a little bottle about that size with a little dropper.
Like a little tincture.
Yeah, and I put it underneath my tongue over night time, and makes you sleep, and makes you a bit relaxed. It's the proper stuff.
Yeah.
It's not the stuff you get in health food shops.
So there's a quite it's quite confusion and hazy at the moment, because a lot of people, and depending on what you read, I've read some articles recently that have made it sound like cannabis oil is now legal in the UK, it's not.
Of course it's not.
It's not. I've done my research on it, and you can get the tinctures from Holland and Barrett, and this is why some press is saying that it's now legal, but it's not. This is a food supplement tincture.
That's right.
And it's not what cannabis oil is, which people are using for things like Parkinson's and cancer and all these horrible things that are ruining people's lives.
The tincture is clear. The cannabis oil that I get, you can see the cannabis in it. It's dark.
Right,
It's a dark oil. And I believe I don't know how they do it. I don't want to know. All I know is it's doing me good. And I pay, it doesn't matter what I pay for it, but it's doing me good. And I have it
What
every
price can
morning.
you put on health?
Sorry, you
What
can't
price
put a price on health.
what price
That's
can
it,
you put on
And I've, I don't look bad, do I?
Not for your age.
No, there you go. So anyway, I'm quite happy taking it, and I want to take it till the day I die. And the reason I'm here today is just to let people know that it's not a junkie thing. I've never had drugs in my life apart from medical stuff.
I think this is where people think, again, it's a hazy thing, because it terrifies people, because they're like, I don't want to go down this route because of this reason and because it's classed as illegal and things like that. Whereas I'm completely opposed to drugs. Actually, smoking cannabis, I think, ruins people's lives, and other people might completely disagree and think, oh, right, what does she know? Well, I've seen it ruin people that I care about, friends that I have grown up near, and seen them ruin their lives either as a gateway drug or directly through cannabis, where it's brought on mental health conditions. People have been sectioned, people have had their kids taken off them, people have become lazy and just changed their lifestyle where they don't care about themselves anymore, and they could have had a really high-flying career, but they decided to, oh no, I'm a bit too relaxed all the time. And I think for all the different things people say it's an innocent drug, no, a lot of people can become addicted to it, and I don't think it is as innocent as people see. But cannabis oil, I think this is where we need to see it as two separate subjects. You wouldn't think somebody who is a smackhead, to use the phrase that everybody uses, who is injecting heroin and everything like that, nobody would agree with that. Even the people that are going through that are regretting the choices that they've made in life. But then on the other side, you'd go for an operation and the doctors will willingly and happily give you opioids to be able to get you through the pain. They give it to people during, they give it to babies, they give it to children, they give it to you during labour. All these different times that you're getting that component and the opioid, which they are happily prescribing. But then why aren't they doing the same with cannabis oil? And this is my point of why I really wanted to speak to you, because a lot of people I've spoken to recently who are in a similar position to you, and they're singing or dancing, they're looking, wow, they're a picture of health like yourself, after seeing them poorly, and then the transformation that cannabis oil is doing. We need to put it into the two different categories and say, yes, we need to see it as a medicine that can be prescribed at a correct dosage and used correctly for people to get them well again, and yet say, actually, let's separate it from the fact that people are using it as a drug separately.
The other thing about it is, you see, it would help so many people. It would also help the NHS. We know the NHS is struggling for money. They're in dire straits. We know that. And I love the NHS.
It's amazing.
It's an amazing
service.
But this way, bringing this in, they would cut down on a lot of the expense. A lot of the expense. The chemo could be cut out with it. I swear to you, it could be cut out. You wouldn't need it. Okay? And all epilepsy, as you spoke about. All these diseases.
There's so many things that it can help with.
It's nature's gift, and we're not using it. It's nature's gift. It is, isn't it? It's a plant.
So what treatment had you had before you started using it yourself for your cancer?
Well, what I did, I have a problem with the urethra tube. I had an operation, they scarred it, so I had problems with that. So they couldn't give me radiotherapy, thank God. I didn't want it. So they were giving me some strong tablets, right? And I don't like to do with chemo anything. I just want to run away from it. Yeah. So I did it for...
Especially after already seeing your wife go through it all.
This beautiful woman, stunningly beautiful woman. Not only to look at, but within, really beautiful. And she's gone. She's not around anymore because of that crap that they were giving her. And that's what it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what it
say
is.
what? I completely agree.
You know. So anyway, she's not here. And if she was around, she wouldn't. She'd be here today if I knew what I knew now. Where was I? I've sort of drifted off here a bit.
Sorry, it's me on my soapbox going off on one, isn't it? So you were telling me about what conditions and treatments you'd been having for your cancer before you actually came across cannabis oil.
They were giving me, but the chemo tabs. I can't remember what it's called because I didn't take too many of them, you know. And every time I went back, I said I'm not taking them anymore. It goes, oh, that was it. Now they gave me some tablets, and I had a month's supply, and I had this month's supply 2 years ago, and it sort of run out in January, and I was supposed to go back to the hospital the following week for more and for another test to see how it had gone. I went out shopping because I'm a widow. I went out shopping. I went to buy some stuff, and all I remember is putting my hand out in front of a store called Waitrose and then collapsing. Then they took me into hospital, and I think I must have been dead, I don't know, but they put a pacemaker in me. Anyway, I was in the street. I don't know how long I was in the street for. Anyway, this is what happened. And they took me to Bart's Hospital in London, and they stuck a pacemaker in, and I've been right ever since. But when I went back to see her, I blamed the tablets. I said, those tablets nearly killed me, you know.
That's come with so many horrible side effects, don't they?
So she said to me, never, not in a million years. She's a lovely lady, this oncologist, lovely lady. She said, no, it wouldn't. She got out a big book, and she went through it all. She went, no. Come to the very end, it can cause death. Right? At the very end, it can cause death. And she still won't have it, but...
That makes you think, though, why do they legalise some things and that they don't others? I was reading the guidelines in relation to this, and so something like cannabis oil they won't prescribe, but things like that are closely linked to heroin and even things like tramadol they'll prescribe to you. Even you can be prescribed cocaine even by doctors. All these horrible things that people know are these horrible, horrible drugs, and yet something that can actually work, and you can take the elements out that will cause any problems with mental health. It just doesn't make sense why some things are legal and others aren't with regards to medication.
You got a chap here who done my face for me, right?
Oh, Antonio, yeah.
Okay. And we're chatting. He said, what are you here for? And I told him. He said, and he showed me a picture of his grandmother. Have you seen it?
No, I've not seen Antonio's grandma. I'll have to make a note of that to look at afterwards.
She's 94.
Oh, wow.
Right? And she makes all her food, all her cakes and that with cannabis oil. With cannabis, not oil, the cannabis. Right? And when she's not feeling very well...
that's a different story,
she makes more cakes. So what I'm saying is, and she's in another country, I believe. So what I'm saying, right, the stuff does work. There's no question of it. It's worldwide. But because they have their minds closed to it, right, and the big companies don't want you to do it because they're earning money out of the National Health Service and the health business, right?
Why can people prescribe something like tramadol, which is so highly addictive and is ruining so many people's lives, and yet they can't prescribe this? It doesn't make sense. I'm not asking for cannabis to be legal. I'm asking for it to be seen as a medicine and prescribed correctly on the NHS as what it is.
You know the cost of the medicines, the injections, and I know all about that as you do. It's so expensive. Just to go and see a consultant. How much money it costs the NHS, I've no idea. I have a bottle that size, and I'll tell you what it cost me. And I get it cheaply. I get it a little bit cheaper. It costs me £100 a month.
Sorry, I'm laughing thinking, are you getting it off Antonio's gran? He's doing the cheap deal.
Well,
sorry.
And you get a month's supply, right?
In one bottle?
In one bottle, underneath my tongue of a night time. And if that's killing that in there, how bad is that?
Well, the thing is that not only
people
aren't saying that they won't
active.
pay for it,
Sorry?
but if we could... People aren't saying they won't even pay for it themselves. We wouldn't necessarily have to get it funded by the NHS. But if we actually had chemists for that we could walk in and you had a prescription and you buy it only with a prescription like you'd get a doctor's prescription, and you were able to go and buy it yourself and had the choice of having it as your medicine, I think that would be a great position to be in.
Did we not see something on the TV a few months ago with some actors going to California somewhere and going to a town where they sell the stuff out in the open?
You can get it in other places. Why are we in the dark ages with it? What makes some things okay to prescribe as medicine and not others? And as I said, I'm fully aware of the bad things, but like you said, you took those tablets and at the end of it, it could cause death in the side effects. So everything has its side effects.
I collapsed completely in the street. I didn't know where I was. And to go on, if I must have died, and they said you see things, somebody calling you, from the other side, doesn't work, believe me. There's nobody there. And I used to quote that myself, but it doesn't work.
And
I
you
never
are
saw
a psychic,
anybody.
so our audience
I'm
will
a
know that
psychic.
you
Yeah, of
are
course I am.
a
Yeah,
psychic.
yeah, I am. Yeah,
And it'll
but
tell
there
you all
go.
about that in your book.
Yeah.
Medium
yeah.
Rare.
Yeah, it's quite.
So that
there you
must
go.
have been quite an interesting experience in itself.
I've had lots of experiences.
Lots of experiences. I need to finish this book. I want to know more. But so we were looking at, you were taking these tablets that you'd been given by your oncologist. They made you really, really poorly.
Yeah, they
you
did.
collapsed in the street.
Yeah.
You had to have a pacemaker fitted.
It's there now, a little square box up there. And he had a job putting it in. He said to my son, it'll take us about 45 minutes to see him through. It'll be all right. It took 2.5 hours. So my son said, Dad, I've been here. I said, oh, I can't help that.
What needs to be done needs to be
It
done.
needs to be done, you know.
The NHS is fantastic with what they do with
they're
pacemakers
wonderful
and things like that.
people.
Absolutely amazing. So then if we go back to, you then found out about the cannabis oil and you were able to get it and you use it every single night.
Every night.
And
apart from last night, I stayed here at the hotel, didn't you?
I hope we're not ruining your house.
No, you're fine. No, so I can go a day a day. I know I can.
So then we've got to the point of, you were really poorly with cancer at the time and you'd had your pacemaker fitted. So then at what point did you start noticing the difference in your health? And how did you know actually that the cancer was changing and shrinking? What was the next step?
I can only explain how I feel in myself. That's all only way I know. And when I went back to see her, she said to me, well, you have to go for a PSA, which is a blood count. So, and it was very high last time I went to see her. Now when I went to see her this time, she said to me, you're an amazing man, Mr. Scott. And my reply is always, yes, I know I am, you know. Which I'm not, but I'm just saying.
You're a lovely man.
So anyway,
You're a lovely man.
she said, you're amazing, mate. I said, yes, okay. I said, what's the trouble? She said, it's gone right down. It's gone from 45 down to 4.
Wow, what a change in numbers.
So there you go.
So when did you last have a scan then?
3 months ago. I went back for the blood test last week because I got an appointment there tomorrow afternoon to go to see her tomorrow afternoon and say, well, how is it? Because I know in myself.
You know that you're well.
I know, you know, I just know I'm a little bit unhealthy because I don't do so much walking now, you know, I used to do. I don't do so much exercise, but it's okay, you know, I'm happy.
As long as you're happy and you're feeling well in yourself, that's all that matters, isn't it?
But I must chuck something else in there too. I do a little bit of mindfulness, a little bit of meditation.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. It's if you spend 45 minutes a day, right, just doing that.
I need to up
Out of the 24 hours, you're saving yourself a load of aggravation. It's nice and peaceful. If you get into it, it's a good thing to get into.
I do a lot of meditation, but I don't meditate for as long as that though. I need to up my figures.
Well, there's other ways of doing it. Yeah, but you have to talk to me afterwards about that. But the other thing about all this is that every one of us in this room, the whole world, we all have cancer cells. We all have cancer. Every one of us has it, right? And if you think on it, and you keep on thinking on it, if you think you talk amongst your family, oh, Auntie Sally's dead, and she died of cancer, cancer's in the family, someone else has got it, then that thing happens where you all think that someone in the family is going to get cancer, right? And it develops into, am I going to get cancer? The more you think that way,
The more that you think it, you manifest it.
Of course you
Law
do.
of attraction.
So you go the other way. You
feel healthy, but you don't think, from what I can gather and from what I use of the law of attraction, you don't think I don't want cancer because you're still attracting cancer by using the word cancer. You think I am healthy, and you think about the positive words.
You just think who you are, and what you are is you're a power within a body that houses you, right? You're a real power, and if you think on that you're just a pure energy, which we are. That's what auras are all about. You know, people say, "Oh, I can see your aura." Of course you can, because it's a natural thing. We've all got auras, and it changes from second to second. But if you think along those lines, then you're fine. You don't have a problem. You have to believe in everything about yourself. You have to believe in your goodness, one thing I always explain is kindness. Kindness is the byword of everything, and gratitude.
Yeah,
Be
completely.
grateful for everything, even just sitting there talking to you. The energy that all of us in here are using is working together, and that's the way it works. I hope I'm not boring you.
No,
You're
not at
going
all.
on a bit.
You're right on my street. My crew will be like, this is what she bangs on about all the time. I'm always on about gratuity and being thankful for
Yeah,
everything.
you have to be. You have to be thankful for everything. The trees in the street, play the grass. See the play the grass blown over with the wind. All energy. We are a pure energy, and once we, then I keep on about this. I keep banging on, as you say.
We'll have to get you on a different subject, won't we? But thank you so much for letting us be aware of your journey and everything you've gone.
bored you too much.
No, not at all. And hopefully more will be done to actually extract the two. Okay, go, yeah, okay, we don't have to agree with it for this, but please let's make it legal to prescribe through special chemists and special prescriptions to help people get well, because there's so many different things that cannabis oil, we've mentioned a few, we've mentioned epilepsy, we've mentioned Parkinson's, we've mentioned chronic pain and cancer, and if it's actually shrinking these problems and helping people sleep and just feel better within themselves, don't see it as a drug, see it as a medicine that it
And
is.
it's God's medicine. If you believe in a God or in your God, whichever which one it is, that's the guy.
Don't set me off on that one then.
That's
That's a different show.
That's the guy. That's the guy that will lead you down the right path into the belief in your Bible or Quran, whatever it is. That'll be the one that'll lead you to the right place. If you live by those sort of laws, you're fine. Now I'm talking about a guy who was an old gangster here, right? An old villain, right? And now I've been there, done it all, and I know, right? Look at yourself, how important you are to each other, and keep away from violence of the tongue, which is very important.
Words stick. We did a show about that recently, about how words can affect and how we can carry it with us, and people don't realise what they say, and things can stick, can't they? And
Do you know
can
something?
wear it.
They don't stick. They scar.
Yeah.
And they scar within. Outside you can be beaten up and smashed about, and the scars will heal. See a light mark, but they'll heal. But inside, they never heal.
Is a lot worse, yeah.
It's the worst type of thing you can do to somebody is scar them with words. It's a dreadful thing to do. Always be kind in everything you do, and it'll come back to you one way or another. Not calm. I don't use calm so much. It's a silly word. And the other word I don't like to use, which is used very loosely, is the word love. It's used too easily.
Oh, I like the word love.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I like the word
Yeah,
love.
in the right context.
There's so many different versions of the word, isn't there? I think
right.
that's what it has to be
Well-
seen as. There's not just one meaning for the word.
Well,
I think if you love what you do and you love everything in a way, I
yeah,
think
yes,
to put positivity into things can help with a lot
I'm
of
talking
things.
about in a relationship.
Like romantical love.
Yeah, that's a waste of time. That word. You have to mean it. You know,
You have to
and
mean
it
it.
has to be seen in the eyes. You see it in the eyes, then you're there.
Thank you so much
Sorry
for
about
joining
that.
us.
Sorry
No,
about
you're
that.
all right. Thank you so much for joining us, Liam. Well, hopefully we've got people thinking and maybe changing your thought process on this. Thank you very much for joining us today here on Media Soundwave. If you haven't been over to the website, head over to www.mediasoundwave.co.uk, where you can subscribe for free to our shows. Thanks to everybody for being involved. Thank you so much for Liam for being here, and we'll see you again here soon on Media Soundwave.